5 seconds to go. Start. Sir, another section of the opposition benches accused us of encouraging the multinationals in the name of production and living from our path. There is absolutely no truth in this charge. We are not giving special concessions to multinationals. Also, the sudden and newfound love for our old path is touching and inexplicable. But logic is not the strong point of our self styled leftists. Multinationals do borrow from public financial institutions, but not to the detriment of other small and medium users. Several members have spoken of inflation and the burden it imposes on the people. I do not want to repeat the figures which quite clearly demonstrate our success in bringing down the rate 12% of inflation. Reduction in wholesale prices is bound to get reflected in reduction of consumer prices, although usually there is a time lag. If we succeeded in keeping the rate of inflation and wholesale prices in check, this will also restrain inflation in the retail price index. It is obvious that inflation causes hardship. That is exactly why we have made control of inflation as one of our prime policy objective. Considering the state of the economy with its rampant inflation that we inherited on our return to office, our 2 years effort has made an impressive impact. However, I should like to emphasize the major aspect of our anti inflationary policy. In most capitalist countries, inflation is sought to be controlled by creating unemployment. Obviously, that cannot be our policy. To redress the hardships of the common people, we must control prices and at the same time augment employment opportunities. There must be substantial growth in production, which will increase the supply of goods and thus reduce prices and provide opportunities for further development and the generation of investment and employment. Our anti inflationary policies are consistent with our development policies. This is the basis of our current economic policies and also of our budget. We have tried to ensure maximum thrust to planned development. Every effort has been made to find the resources to finance a considerable increase in the size of the annual plan and at the same time to reduce non development expenditure to the minimum so that the deficit remains within the barest minimum and does not create inflationary pressures. Within the plan allocation, the maximum emphasis has been on programs providing support and generating income for the poor. Honorable member will have noted that allocation for the development plan at the center has been increased to rupees 11,000 crores. Important segments benefiting from this increase are the National Rural Employment Program, the Integrated Rural Development and allied programs, and programs for the scheduled castes and tribes. A great deal of pre budget propaganda had been carried on that the government would be dictated by outside elements. Even some honorable member has said so. This is not very becoming of members of this august parliament of a proud country. Yes, what do we see? It is the business circles which are most disappointed and most critical of the budget. The budget shows the full awareness of the urgent tasks before the nation is welfare of the weakest, employment, stimulation of production, containment of inflation, and safeguarding of our security. Even one is a formidable task in itself, but we are determined to achieve all of them. It is in line with this policy that we have decided to make the current year the year of productivity. Every economic activity must get the maximum out of potential created. We shall provide all the support necessary to increase productivity in industry and in agriculture, in the service sector, and in the infrastructure. I hope everybody will participate in this national effort. How can Bharat Bandhs be consistent with increased productivity? How can greater productivity be sustained if the essential services are disrupted time and again? I have always upheld the right of our labor and trade union movement, but they also have social obligations. A breakdown in any single essential service can paralyze the entire national economy, and obviously, those who suffer most are usually the poorest and weakest sections. A strike in these industries cannot be taken lightly by anyone who is interested in the country's development. Some honorable members have referred to the problem of increasing real wages. The per capita income in our country has been increasing consistently since the beginning of planning until now. It has increased by about 50%, and this is at a time when the population itself is up by about 90%. Surely it should be clear to everybody that increase in productivity is the first condition necessary for any increase in the real wages of our working people. The working class itself increases the real wages of our working people. The working class itself is gradually finding out who its real friends are. An honorable member complained that federalism was disappearing, and he spoke regarding the centralized finance and administration. This is an old argument. The one difference is that it was voiced by leftists of West Bengal and Kerala. Stop.